Well, good afternoon, and I hope everyone is doing well. It's a nice, beautiful afternoon. Makes you truly appreciate being alive. I think it should for most people, and if you're healthy, even more appreciation is needed. Um, Most of you now are starting to realize that I'm using video as a means to communicate, and I think there's a lot of power in media like this. I think I would probably bypass a Facebook message that was writing that was really really long. I wouldn't have the time to read it, but sometimes a video capture gets somebody's attention and they listen, and hopefully you can capture their interest for the full amount of time that you are speaking, and in this case, that would be me. I wanted to do something a little bit different. I like to motivate and I like to encourage people, and I definitely feel that there's a place for that in our culture, in our society, in our world society. I think there are a lot of people out there that need a helping hand, a voice, somebody to stand up for them or speak for them or to share some positive feedbacks, something, just even sometimes a word just for somebody, excuse me, it gives them an opportunity to see something a little bit differently. But today is a little bit different for me. I wanted to, I'm speaking with a little bit of a different purpose, and right from the very beginning I want to say this is just purely my own opinion, but I believe in this opinion. First of all, I hate Facebook, to be honest with you. I really do. If I didn't have a business, I wouldn't have it. Right now I use it because it's a platform or a foundation of which I can stand on to get a message across. But if I didn't have a business, then I really don't need to be involved in anybody else's business, and them probably not in mine either. But since it's here and we're using it, I thought that maybe I would try to utilize it in a constructive way. When I see Facebook posts and things like that, when I see silly posts that get tons of likes, when I see silly videos that create laughter, I think it's great, and it's mindless, but it distracts people from what's really going on. And so there's always a place for that. And I mean, life can't be that serious. We have to look at it from a different perspective as well. However, we also have to stop and focus on some of the things that are really actually happening in this world. And right now, if you're following what's going on globally, you see that the world is in crisis. Now, this is nothing new. The world has been in crisis since the very beginning of time. If in fact the story of Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve and all of that was actually true, then you got to believe that Cain killed Abel. He murdered his own brother. So out of jealousy or and these things. So I mean, if that doesn't lead by example, I don't know what will. Because if that's how it started, the world has hardly ever seen peace, especially world peace. There's a lot of power in disruption and discontentment and fighting and war. It generates a lot of money. It makes rich people really rich, and the people that it affects the most are you and me, and it always has. There's been holy wars. There's been wars that have been started by, I mean, if you read the Bible, you would know that God said, go there and destroy this village or destroy this city. So it's not to say that there hasn't been this going on. And it's one thing to read about it and look at it like it's history. Because when you read it as history, you're not actively in it. You're not really feeling it. You're not part of the history. You're not seeing your mother or your children slain in front of you. But I'm sure in that time that was happening and really happening for someone. So suffering has been going on, and it's going on right now. And when you look on Facebook, you do see things that are happening. Children being murdered because of their beliefs. Actually, children probably don't even have any beliefs. Not yet. They're not old enough to have beliefs. They just are a part of what their parents believe in, and yet they're being beheaded and killed in the name of something. And that's really unfortunate. It's really sad. And if myself, I have children, and it's the one thing that would drive me into killing myself if anyone touched my children. These things that are happening are atrocious, and it's tough, and it's sad, and it's a reality. And it doesn't mean that the world is going to stop, because it won't, and these types of things won't stop. In the 20th century, in 100 years, only 3 years of those 100 was there actually world peace at one time. So the world is always in a state of violence and breakdown and just a bad place. So what can we do? We can like posts for sure. We can comment, and we can yell in text, and we can ask, where's God in all of this? And we can scream at the government officials, and we can point fingers and blame everyone else, and we can do that. And sometimes it's good to get that off your chest, as long as it's constructive and not damaging anybody else. But in reality, what has that really gotten anyone? I mean, standing up against an army, an individual in Tiananmen Square may have stopped a tank, but never stopped the politics, never stopped what's still going on in communist countries. These things are not going to change. People are not going to change the way powers at be want the world to shape itself, whether it's financial or whatever the case. But liking things on Facebook and commenting on Facebook and sharing these posts aren't going to do anything either. We can have 100 people in my home, and we can all talk about this, and we can all be angry and get our heart going and get frustrated, and that's okay. And yet, what's that going to accomplish? Absolutely nothing. And like I said, we can go march to the Justice Building or go to your minister and start raving about what's going on, and what's that going to accomplish? Nothing, because they work for someone too. But I do have what I believe, in my own opinion, a solution. And the solution is, if people really want to change things, is to lead by example. Instead of trying to change the world, because that's not going to happen. Change your own self. Change your own life. Change how you do things in your own home. Change how you speak to your children. Change the way you're bringing them up. Change the fact that we don't sit at dinner time together anymore. Change the fact that, we're not telling our children that we love them. Change these things. These are the things that are going to create a new future. Our people that are in power were somebody's children. They grew up in an environment that embraced the negativity. If we're going to make a difference, we need to lead by example. We need to lead by loving those closest to us, and not just the closest ones to us, but the ones on the outside as well. We see someone that's suffering, we don't walk past them. We see someone hurting, we don't walk past them. If we see someone that needs a hand, we give them a hand. We don't hit our wives. We don't abuse our children. We don't tell our children words that are going to register with them forever in their head, telling them that they're useless or no good. We need to encourage. We need to motivate. We need to inspire. We need to take our life, the life that we have been given, the life that probably for a lot of us would wish that our parents had raised us different, without so much worry and so much fear. Instead of instilling this negative in us, we wish that probably we were raised with positivity. And we, knowing that growing up, instead of giving that to our children, we're giving them the opposite. We're giving them negatives. We're not empowering them, we're breaking them down. Our future is our children. Our future is in those children's minds, what they see, what they perceive, Not what we say, but what we do. I see too many kids nowadays running around the street at 14 years old, and they're in St. Julian's drinking, dressed like they shouldn't be dressed. Well, who's seeing them walk out the door? It's not pop culture. It's not acceptable now to restrain your children from doing things that are not healthy for them. Or are we so busy now because we have to have the great things in life, and things are so expensive now that everyone has to work, mom and dad, so there's no real attention to give anymore to our children? Listen, I'm just speaking my own opinion, and I'm not blasting anybody. Really, I'm not. But the responsibility that is in our children's lives has solely to fall on us. And if I, in my own way, have an ability to touch one person or 5 people or 20 people, if I have that power, should I not try to touch them in a positive way rather than trying to cut them, break them, stab them in the back, steal from them, rip them off, show them that no one can be trusted? Or should I be implanting them with thoughts and ideas in their head that who they are is great and that they can accomplish whatever they want, and if they need any help or a hand or support, that I'm there to give that to them? Can I not give that kind of an example to the people that I'm touching, and then hopefully that they take that example and do exactly the same thing with their own children, or with their own siblings, their own parents, their own brothers and sisters, or their own friends? Is that not how to change things? Because the last time I looked, change was happening in a monumental rate. But the change that's happening is not really all that positive. We're worse now in so many ways than ever before, and it sounds like it's a negative, and it kind of is a negative. Because to be worse than ever before really kind of sucks. And the only reason why we've done that or gotten to this point is because we dropped the ball. People are they're wide awake sleeping. Eyes wide shut. They're not paying attention anymore. They don't care anymore about what's happened to anybody else, as long as no one comes into their own home and disrupts what they have. You can screw everybody. You can take what everybody else has, rob them, steal them, kill them, hurt them, but don't, by God, please do not touch our home. Everyone's protecting themselves, their fear of everyone, and that's called isolation. You don't think that's a plan? One wolf can kill 100 sheep if those sheep are scared and scattered. But 50 wolves couldn't kill 100 sheep if those sheep were together and supporting one another. There's power in numbers. There's power in unity. And if everyone is going to start to only think of themselves, where are we going to be? I've been listening to stories left, right, and center. A person, almost hit by a car, children in the car, starts to defend the situation, say, hey, this is not just, and ends up getting stabbed and put into ICU. You hear stories where someone does stand up to save somebody else or protect somebody else, but they're beaten down for it. That doesn't, and then they're ridiculed as well, And sometimes, in all honesty, I don't know that it actually happens here, but I'll tell you this. In the United States, someone can come into your house, rob you, and if you shoot them, let's say, and they survive, they can charge you with attempted murder, even though they're breaking into your house and stealing your stuff. We've set the policies. We're being separated as individuals. We're being separated as families. And it seems like now no one really knows what to do anymore. And I think sometimes when you don't know what to do, the best thing to do is go back to the basics. And what are those basics? What would you do if you and your family lived on 20 acres with no one around you? How would you be? You would work together. You would support each other. You had to work off the land and live off the land. You would be a team, all of you forming one. And if a team is fragmenting, then nothing gets done. So how a team doesn't fragment is you keep the team together by motivation, inspiration, building people up on a daily basis, making them feel good about what they're contributing, making someone feel strong for what they can put into this. Same thing that we live in right now. All we have to do is just encourage one another, support one another, and be powerful and positive people and lead by example. Pay it forward, pay it forward. If someone does something good for you, if somebody's out there trying to support you and help you, do the same thing. That can catch on too. And if that catches on, then who can hurt you? I mean, you can take a person's body. You can destroy a person's body, but you can't destroy their mind. And if you're good inside of here, then no one's going to destroy that. You can't worry about what's happening in the sense that to be in fear of your life, because only God knows when your time is up. And you can worry about a lot of things about tomorrow, and they don't come to fruition. You've wasted a lot of time. All that worrying is done, is destroyed today and tomorrow. But what you can do is take responsibility for your actions today, the actions out of your mouth, the way you embrace somebody, the way you support somebody, the meaning behind your words.
It's 14 hours.
I think it's time to rethink things. We're a small country, but a powerful country. And news travels fast in this country. And can you imagine if people got motivated to start some kind of initiative? Initiative for what? I don't know, just loving other people. Just love people. I think it's what everyone wants for themselves, is to be loved. Being loved is probably one of the most powerful tools, powerful gifts that a person can receive. You look at someone that you really love, and look at their face, and you tell them that you love them. And watch what happens. Look what they will do for you when they feel that love. My God, can you imagine if we could show that to everyone? Could you imagine if we were walking around showing that kind of emotion and that kind of care to everyone? You don't have to love 1,000 people. You just love those close to you. And everyone that's close to them can love someone close to them and give them the best. And we can make a difference. And then it can leave this country and continue. Be a great global thing to see. The future is in our hands. We can't sit back and wait for somebody else to fix our problems. We have to take a stand and fix those problems. We can't put the responsibility on the government. It does nothing. We've got to put the responsibility where the power really is. And the power really is right in here. And in here, each and every one have it. We have so much potential if we can just tap into it, grab it, and utilize it. So that's my thought for the day. In all honesty, I hope things change in my lifetime for the positive. But hoping isn't going to get it done. So I encourage you all that if you have anything left inside of you that resembles real love, share it. Because if you share it, your capacity grows and you can give more. And that's my rant for the day.